and some of the other flowers coming along. So we're just grateful for that. So once again, welcome to everyone. So Unity of London's vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And that vision is shared with a lot of other Unity churches worldwide. And our mission is to transform lives. And so we think about, how can we transform our lives? We can do that by inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. And this morning, as we especially think about Jesus, we think about how he transformed lives and how he inspired people to make a positive difference in the world. Over 2,000 years later, people are still following our way shower and inspiring people. So once again, today we are going to have breakout rooms for anyone who would like prayer this morning. And so what is going to happen is you can send a message to Larry using the little at the bottom, well, it's the bottom of my computer anyway, the little chat button that says that you would like to have prayer. Or the other thing that you can do after this is you can also put up your hand right now if anybody would like to have additional prayer today after the service. Okay, so if you change your mind, send Larry a little chat and we will connect you with Sylvia. If there's more than one of you who'd like prayer, Pauline, or actually in room number 3 will be me, not Dawn. Okay, well, I think that the next slide is the prayer slide. So if it's not, let's go into prayer anyway, folks. Oh, here it is. Okay, so if you just close your eyes and relax and just make that conscious connection between our head and our heart, and maybe just slow down if there's been excitement in your life this morning because of Easter morning or anything else that may be going on. And let's go into prayer. And as we come together today, we are grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with our Unity community, wherever they are and whenever they may hear this message. This is the first Sunday of April, and we wish everyone a happy Easter. Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbach says, Christianity's most sacred holiday is more than the celebration of the life of Jesus. It is the celebration of the potential that Jesus represents and the knowledge that we too are capable of leading a life that shines with the light of God. The Easter story is a reminder that no matter what seems to happen to us, it does not have the final word. We can look beyond appearances and recognize that there is a divine plan unfolding. Our task is to hold on to that vision until our life bears witness to truth that liberates us and sets us free. And so we pay a special attention to that this morning, as we know that there are lots of things that are happening around us that we may not be happy with. But as we look beyond those appearances, we just trust that that divine plan is unfolding. And one of the things that can help us with that unfoldment is the unity power for April, which is love. And love is the ability to attract, desire, and unify. And so this morning we affirm, I am a center of love. I am a center of love. And we send that love out into the world, past our outer walls, out to everyone that is on this Zoom service this morning, out beyond even that into the world. And so we bless everyone attending all spiritual gatherings today, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. And at this time, we hold in prayer all of those who may need our loving support right now. And we whisper those names softly into this space. We also hold in prayer this morning Unity of Comox Valley and Unity Nanaimo, those two wonderful churches out in British Columbia. And as we move through this day, we affirm that everything is unfolding in love with ease and grace seamlessly. And so it is, and so we let it be. And so today, Dawn will be sharing another of Unity of London's core values about resurrection, found today in the Daily Word.
Arise. I welcome my resurrection experience. In Mark's Gospel, the women who came to anoint Jesus' body on Easter morning flee in terror after finding the tomb empty. They are told Jesus has been raised. Stories from early Christian communities describe a transformation from fear to faith as Jesus' early followers come to realize that not even death can hold the Christ Spirit captive. With joyous faith, Jesus' followers greet one another, declaring, "He is risen," and affirming, "He is risen indeed." Letting go of fear, I say yes to my resurrection experience, guided by the resurrecting power of the Christ Spirit in me. I am set free from the tomb of lack and limitation. I follow Jesus into the light of new awareness, a new dimension of life. Christ is risen in me. But he said to them, "Be not alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here." Mark 16, verse 6. Today, we're going to hear again from Tony. Tony is a lifelong student and teacher of spirituality, metaphysics, and abundance manifestation, an experienced mentor, speaker, and trainer, and author of Using the Law of Attraction. Tony has been an active member of Unity of London since 2012 and is the past president of the board of directors. Join me in welcoming our speaker for today with his message about a different Easter experience. Tony Orvidas.
Thank you, Dawn. Good morning, Unity of London. The title of my message today is A Different Easter Perspective, as we celebrate the end of Easter Holy Week and the Lenten season. Today, we'll first talk about love, and then we'll touch further on the Easter story. Now, the unity theme for April, as Will already mentioned, is the power of love. An inexhaustible stream of love pours through me, blessing others and myself. The metaphysical meaning of love? Well, it's the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Of all the attributes of God, love is undoubtedly the most beautiful. In divine mind, love is the power that joins and ties together in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. Like the sun, its joy is in the shining forth of its nature. God is love and love is God, right? That's what unity teaches. And according to the Bible, because God loved humanity, she supposedly sent her son, Jesus, to save it. Now, as we know, Jesus of Nazareth, or Jeshua ben Joseph, is a real historical figure, but his death and resurrection is more of a symbolic story. It's the Easter story, the story of Jesus allegedly dying for our sins, because he is the allegedly only begotten Son of God who loved us so much. So let's talk about this Easter. What is it? First of all, Easter is observed in either March or April each year. In case you, like me, were wondering why it moves around so much, or maybe just forgot, the calendar date is determined based on the vernal or spring equinox. Astronomically, this vernal equinox occurs when the sun crosses the equator and night and day are the same length. This year it was on March the 20th. Easter Sunday is the first Sunday after the first full moon following the vernal equinox, and therefore it takes place between March 22nd and April 25th. This year, Easter is today, Sunday, April the 4th, because the moon was full earlier this week. Clear as mud? All right. According to the Canadian Encyclopedia, Easter, like all religious celebrations, has a rather complex history, and there's some debate about its origins. The Venerable Bede, a Christian scholar from the late 7th century, claimed that the word Easter came from the Old English Yoster or Youster, the name of the great mother goddess of the Saxon people, who was associated with spring and new life. It has been suggested by various historians and liberal theologians that the Jesus Christ death and resurrection story was actually based on legends from ancient traditions that significantly predate Christianity. The Christian Easter was therefore made more acceptable to the pagans who were being colonized and persecuted by Christian armies. Now, some of the symbols we associate with modern Easter have more to do with spring than with religion, don't they? They harken back to the traditions of the ancient peoples. Eggs, chicks, flowers, and the rabbits we were talking about earlier are all related to spring and to the renewal of life after winter. So did you hear the one about the farmer who played a prank on Easter Sunday? After the egg hunt, he snuck into the chicken coop and replaced every white and brown egg with a brightly colored one. Minutes later, the rooster walked in, he spotted the colored eggs and stormed out and beat up the peacock. Easter foods, they include lamb, which is derived from the Passover story, ham, which can be traced back to the pagan rites of spring and was said to bring luck, the aforementioned rabbit, asparagus, bread or cakes, which are representative of fertility, and of course, hot cross buns, and my favorite, Jell-O molds. Now, when I was a kid, at our house, Easter was a very big deal, particularly Good Friday, the focus being the crucifixion. In our church, we imaged the dead Jesus on the cross, not the resurrected one. Now, most of my friends would traditionally go on a hike with their families on Good Friday, but my brother and I were not allowed to go out or to have any fun. We had to suffer like Jesus did. So we only had water to drink, were required to fast from food, and of course, attended the long and boring Good Friday service at church. We spent much of the day coloring and decorating eggs and listening to my dad or aunt read from the Dolorous Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ, Dolorous meaning sorrowful. It first appeared in 1833, being based on the visions of Jesus' passion and death, as seen by Venerable Anne Catherine Emmerich. She was a German Augustinian nun, and her visions, reputed to have been revealed to her under religious ecstasy by the Virgin Mary, were recorded by Clemens Brentano, a prominent literary figure and poet of the day. Christ's agony and death were documented in unimaginable detail, which kind of made it interesting for us kids. By the way, the controversial film, The Passion of Christ, by the self-proclaimed anti-Semite and bigot Mel Gibson, was inspired by that book. Now, Holy Saturday for our family was a bit less solemn. Easter Sunday, after sunrise mass, was pretty good though. Enjoying the food, celebrating and feasting and playing traditional Easter games. Easter lilies, pussy willows, prizes for the best decorated egg rolling and egg tapping. That's hitting someone else's hard-boiled egg with yours to see which one had the hardest shell. Easter egg hunts, gorging on chocolate eggs and bunnies, and my favorite, marzipan. My brother and I would laughingly tell each other Jesus jokes, making sure we were not overheard, of course. You've probably heard some of them. Please don't take offense. I'm sure even Jesus would have found them funny, because I understand he had a pretty good sense of humor. Jesus enters the restaurant where the Last Supper is going to take place. He says, "A table for 26, please." The waiter responds with, "Why? I count only 13 people in your party." Jesus agrees and says, "Yeah, but we're all going to sit on just this one side." Here's another. After Jesus' death and resurrection, he ascended into heaven. While there, he happened to notice a familiar-looking old man. Wondering if the old guy might be his father, Joseph, Jesus asked him, "Did you by any chance ever have a son?" "Why, yes," said the old man, "but he wasn't my biological son. He was born by a miracle." "Very interesting," said Jesus. "Did this boy ever have to fight temptation?" "Oh, yes, many times," answered the old man, "but he eventually won. Unfortunately, he heroically died at one point, but came back to life shortly afterwards. He spread joy, and his story is told everywhere." Well, Jesus couldn't believe it. Could this actually be his father? "One last question," he said. "Were you a carpenter?" "Why, yes," replied the old man. Jesus then joyfully exclaimed, "Dad!" The old man rubbed the tears from his eyes and blubbered, "Pinocchio." I've got piles of them, folks, as sacrilegious as they come, but my wife would not let me include what she found to be as inappropriate in today's message. By the way, check out Monty Python's The Life of Brian if you like irreverent humor. Anyway, let's get serious here. What do the components of the Easter story represent? What is their metaphysical meaning, the symbolism? Who is interested in knowing more? Okay. Let's turn to the Course in Miracles, the Way of Transformation, the Unity Worldwide website, and Truth Unity for some inspiration. Metaphysically speaking, Easter is the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus after crucifixion. Its inner meaning and spiritual significance is the awakening and raising to spiritual consciousness of the I am in man. That I am, which has been dead in sin and transgression and buried in the tomb of materiality. The word crucifixion means the crossing out in consciousness of certain errors that have become fixed states of mind. It's the enactment by a master, Jesus, of the final extinction of carnal mind. Calvary, where Jesus was crucified, means the place of the skull. The carnal mind appropriates the brain and its skull, and it is here that the final battle between flesh and spirit is fought. The scourging and other indignities borne by Jesus symbolize a struggle between the flesh and the spirit in man. Pilate, the chief priests, and the multitude symbolize forms of the flesh, or what we call sense consciousness. The cross represents the vertical axis of eternity in the horizontal axis of time in the body. It represents the field of the mind. We have been crucified by our own thoughts. The fearful crowd? Some friends of Jesus that continued to love, but even they bailed by their belief that death and loss were possible. Jesus's garments that the Roman soldiers drew lots on represents the thoughts that protect the body against worldly forces. The soldiers and prosecutors represent total unconsciousness and conformity to the authority of the world. The crown of thorns, that symbolizes the negative thoughts we insist upon when we rest in judgment, anger, hurt, or fear, when we choose to deny love. The thorns themselves represent our fearful and limited thoughts. The nails merely symbolize that which would hold us stuck in a dimension, the horizontal dimension of the body and time that would nail our feet to the world. The vinegar upon hyssop that was given to Jesus on the cross represent the final bitterness and agony of the separation from carnal mind and body. Joseph of Arimathea arranged for Jesus' burial. Arimathea represents a collection of lofty thoughts, while Joseph represents a higher state of consciousness. Jesus' resting in Joseph's tomb symbolizes the truth that Jesus was resting in the consciousness of vitality and substance, was growing into a broader understanding, and was in truth gathering strength for the great demonstration over death to follow. The 3 days Jesus was in the tomb, they represent the 3 steps in overcoming error: non-resistance, receiving the will of God, fulfillment of his divine will. The tomb itself, I think we mentioned earlier, is a symbol of lack, limitation. Christ overcoming the cross is showing us how to overcome our darkest moments and toughest trials. The resurrection is the raising up of the whole person, spirit, soul, and body into the Christ consciousness of life and wholeness. Now, Easter celebrates resurrection. And during this time, we recognize that we have the power to celebrate and accept our resurrection as a living Christ by seeing beyond the boundaries of death, loss, fear, hurt, anger. We read in The Way of Transformation by J.M. that Easter is our birthday. It's a time to celebrate that the crown of thorns has been removed because we have chosen to think only loving thoughts. The only choice that matters is before us: love or fear, resurrection or crucifixion, joy or suffering, unlimitedness or smallness. The choice is always ours. As it says in A Course in Miracles, the journey to the cross should be our last useless journey. We should not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. The only message of the crucifixion is that we can overcome the cross. Until then, we're free to crucify ourselves as often as we choose. Unity tells us that it is quite evident that the theology has not understood the true character of Jesus's death. Instead of dying upon the cross like the two thieves that were crucified with him, he simply passed through the human consciousness of death and came out fully alive on the other side. Jesus did not die upon the cross to save men from their sins, but he lived. This is an important distinction and clears up points that have always been stumbling blocks to those who wanted a reasonable theology, maybe like you. People should quit wailing over the agony of the cross, they say. Quit looking for the master like Mary in the tomb. Quit talking about the death and departure of Jesus and realize the truth that Jesus went through the appearance called death to demonstrate for us its powerlessness in the presence of one who had made the atonement, the at-one-ment with the Father. Joan Borysenko, in A Pocket Full of Miracles, said that during Easter, we should celebrate dying to our egos and being reborn into the light of our own true nature, our God seed, our higher self. Jesus tells us in the Course of Miracles that the message of the crucifixion is perfectly clear. Teach only love. For that if you interpret the crucifixion in any other way, you are using it as a weapon for assault rather than a call for peace. The time of Easter is the time of joy and not of mourning, like it was in my family and maybe in yours. Holy Week is a symbol of the whole journey Jesus has undertaken. So now we find ourselves on Zoom with our brothers and sisters, thorns in one hand and lilies in the other, uncertain which to give. Let us offer a gift of the lilies, not a crown of thorns, the gift of love and not the gift of fear. Let us throw away the thorns, offering the lilies to replace them. Now it's time to summarize the message for today. Choose resurrection over crucifixion. Choose the resurrected Christ, not the crucified body and egoic mind. Easter is a love story. The love of God for his sons and daughters, the love of Jesus for us all, our love for each other, the love that flows through me and you to bless others. Jesus' life and death were an absolute demonstration of surrender, faith, and unconditional love. One of the final things Jesus said to his disciples at the Last Supper was, "And so I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as much as I love you." Happy Easter. With that, let us now go into meditation. Close your eyes, take a deep breath and relax. Take another deep breath and calm your monkey mind as best you can. We will initially do a guided meditation and then go into a period of silence. Today's meditation is based on a meditation on the power of love by Reverend Bronte Colbert. Let my words be yours. Allow your mind to relax and become still. Take a deep breath in, exhale gently. Today on this Easter Sunday, I open my heart and mind to the spiritual power of love. I am a radiant expression of divine love, a brilliant stream of infinite possibility. This love beams from me and shimmers in a rainbow of colors as I love others, as Divine Source loves me. Each day is an opportunity to love. I look for places and people I can silently bless. If I read, watch, or listen to the news, I use it as a tool to know where to focus my prayers, my love, and my positivity. I look for the uplifting examples of loving kindness that abound in this world. I find creative ways to perform acts of kindness. A small gift, a large tip, a positive note, a compliment. I infuse my smiles with light and love. When I choose to keep my mind focused on unconditional love as the greatest power in my life, I create and experience greater possibilities than I have ever imagined. I will now sit in silence for a moment and consider how I can best express loving kindness in my life. I welcome love, joy, and harmony into my life now. I am loved unconditionally. I am forgiven no matter what I may have done in the past. Angels, spirit guides, beings of light envelop me in beams of love. And so it is. Amen.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for a wonderful service today. You know, I remembered too, of course, when I was growing up, what Easter meant to me was usually a new dress and little white gloves and getting ready to go to Sunday school on Sunday morning. And I've pictures, I'm sure, that I could probably dig up that would show that. But the thing that I really appreciated from today's service from you was the fact that Easter is a love story. And I'd never quite thought about it in those terms. So thank you for just rising our awareness of this whole Easter season. Thank you. Okay, so indeed we are grateful. We're grateful for this unity community, and we are grateful for all of the people who support this community through their tithes and their offerings. And so we now have an opportunity to share of our abundance in the form of a tithe. And we express appreciation for all of those benefits that we enjoy, and we rejoice in our chance to share of our good. Thank you, everyone. So now we're going to do the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me wherever I am. God is, and all is well. Yay, God. And so now we're going to do our peace song. Well, happy Easter again, everyone. Have a great day, and please stay around if you'd like to have a little fellowship, and if you'd like to make any comments on or have any questions for Tony about his service today. So thank you. All right, so if you've got any, I'm just trying to get this. Oh, there's Tony. Okay. So does anybody have any questions or comments for Tony? I'm trying to get my screen ready here so that I can see everybody. Up, there we go. That might work. There we go. Okay, now I can see everybody. So, oops, I think almost everybody anyway. Okay, so just speak up if you want to if you have a question for Tony, because I'm not sure that I can see you all yet. Any comments, any questions?
Hi, Tony. Thank you so much. A new perspective on Easter. Humorous and informative. It was wonderful.
Yes, the joke about the peacock, we certainly laughed.
I love that.
Didn't understand it. Is there anybody wanting a breakout room? Do we see any hands?
With a chaplain.
I think Lucy had sent a message, Larry.
Okay, Lucy, you'd like to go into a breakout room? So that would be with Pauline. So I will send you to the breakout room.
Thank you, Tony. That was phenomenal. I'm so glad that I was looking forward to hearing a different perspective to Easter. I just love that, and that will remain in my heart from this time forward. Thank you.
Well, maybe a happy birthday to Lorraine. I think it's her birthday today.
Is it? Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lorraine.
A big 50, is it?
Happy birthday.
Oh, we can't hear you, Lorraine. You're muted.
32.
32. Perfect. Yay.
Thank you, Pinocchio.
Exactly.
Well, I would like to share with you too that I did some reading about Easter, and I loved a metaphysical explanation that I found. Are you getting feedback?
No,
A little bit.
a little bit, but not
Can
much.
you mute, Larry? Okay, that should be better. So, and I just thought it was so beautiful, so I will share it with you because it goes right along with what Tony was talking about today, about it being a love story. And it said, what if the whole message about Easter was about responding with love, no matter what the circumstances are? When Jesus was on the cross and being attacked, and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So they're not in their right mind. But me being in my right mind means I can send love to this. And I just felt so empowered when I took that into my heart. And I thought, wow, isn't that just the truth? And then the rock, of course, being, our resistance, or, yeah, wouldn't that be nice if I could really live in love and not fear? Wouldn't that be nice? And just, that's a rock. And just allowing that rock to move a little bit and to get more love and more joy in our life. And then saying, maybe I would like some more of that. So I got a lot out of your talk today. And I personally love the peacock story. And I just want to affirm that, Barb, you were absolutely right. The Easter Bunny came in the 1700s with German immigrants in Pennsylvania. And that's where it all started. Yeah. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you know your stuff. What's the German word, Barb? You know that, right?
The word for Easter in German is Ostern. So
Ostern,
what Tony said, the history of that, I got so much out of that, Tony. It was just just brought back childhood.
Yeah, cool. All right. Anyway, thank you. Happy Easter, everybody. Much love.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments?